just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Welcome to our special Sunday edition of the Everything Sparkles Show. We are with Vong Mouanoutoua, and you are running for City Council.
Yes, I am, and I like the fact that you pronounce my name perfectly. First time I ran, we only went with Vong because we're going, okay, let's just go vote Vong.
Oh, I totally understand. People get my name wrong all the time.
Yeah.
So explain your run and what your position is, because a lot of people don't know exactly what our city councilman does.
Yeah, City of Clovis has 5 council seats, and so we rotate every 2 years. So this year is only 2. So Lynn and I are up for re-election, and then in 2 years it'll be 3. But this is also the last year in which we will have a odd year March election. So the next election will be an even year November election with all the general elections. So it's going to be a change for Clovis, definitely. I've been on the council for 4 years, so finishing up 1 term. But before then, I was on the Planning Commission for about 10 years. And I have lived in Clovis now for about 26 years. Yeah.
So what did you do on the Planning Commission?
Planning Commission, you hear everything from zoning to rezones to land use items. I did that the last 5+ years. I was the chair of the Planning Commission, so really enjoyed that. Had a chance to really be in a public hearing setting, because it's sort of, you aren't elected, but then you run a meeting like elected officials because you're in the council chambers and you actually hear items and make recommendations and approvals of land use items.
So where's your focus now? Is it in commercial or residential?
See, there is no such thing as a focus because there's a general plan.
Okay.
So a general plan is which the community comes together and they say, how do we want to build out the city and how do we want to build it? Meaning, where are we going to put the residential, where are we going to put the high density, medium density, and where are we going to put the commercial centers? That is done as a community, and it takes a good 2 years to build that plan. Then it gets approved by Citizens Committee, then it gets approved by the Planning Commission, then it comes to the council.
So you're the last stop.
And so we are the last stop. And so whatever you see building out right now, it's what's been planned. So it's not, the council wants to build that, or the council, we don't build anything.
So you get blamed for everything.
Yeah, we do. But then really it's just, no, we're building out the vision of what the people have decided that they want the city to look like. And so if you see more residential, it's because there's still enough residential to build on. But one day it'll run out because we zone certain places commercial. For example, in the southeast, we do sort of commercial centers. And so there are a commercial center that is surrounded by residential that can support the commercial center. Commercial usually comes last because they usually don't come in and then, you can't support it, it's going to die.
Right.
But it's zoned already, meaning the land is reserved for it. And so people sometimes want their store right away when they moved in, but
oh, yeah.
we don't build it. And someone has to come and say, yeah, we will invest in that area. Our job is get out of the way, allow people to get their permits, allow the process to go smoothly so they can get going. Because the quicker they get going, the more successful they are, the more everybody succeeds. That's my philosophy. Just get going, get out of the way, let the experts do what they need to do.
Whatever needs to happen to make us have a strong economy.
Yes.
So what have you noticed, some stuff going on with COVID? How did that really put a damper on a lot of plans that were happening?
At first, we thought it was going to put a lot of damper. I mean, we projected almost a $12 million shortfall. So the city of Clovis has about 17% emergency reserve of our budget. So 17% of the budget is reserved for emergency. We were going to dip into that with the projection. We were going to lose that much. So we're going to have to dip into it just so we can survive. So those are the projections, I want to say about April, May. We are now, almost March, we are 3 million in the black. And so I always say, we must have done something right. Because if you look to the neighbor to the west, there's 31 million in the red.
Wow.
And so we handled COVID differently than our neighbors. I think also it's a testament to the people of Clovis. They are resilient. Also, I would say obedient is a good word. They knew that it was serious, but they also wanted to be able to have us allow them to let me handle it, what is safest in my industry. And we said, sure, we'll let you do it. Okay. And so we weren't going to get involved in coming over and policing you and go, hey, your nails on, the things are too short, or this is too high, or you should have been doing this, or you should have sanitized 3 times instead of 2 times. And, when we were talking about that, I said, we're not even experts. We put too much credit in ourselves. I'm like, just shut up and let them handle it. Let the market take care of itself, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So you think it was not micromanaging pre-existing businesses
Yeah.
that was part of the success of Clovis?
What we did well was we had the staff really interpret the rules and regulations from the state and said, this is what they're saying, this is our interpretation, and this is how we're gonna govern should it happen. And so that's what we did, because it changed so much. It was so confusing. One day you can do this.
Oh,
one day you couldn't.
yeah.
One day this was open. One day this wasn't. And so they relied on us to say, well, what are you going to enforce? What are you going to do? And so we were. I mean, this staff spent so many hours just going. This is what they meant. This is what we're going to do. For example, we started dining outside before it was popular, and we didn't. We made it where we got fire and code enforcement, everybody involved, so that way we go, okay, this is how we can do it safely, no permits, no issues. We also said those with entertainment licenses, bars, and we said, let's waive those fees. They haven't had a chance to even earn enough money to pay for that license, so we waived a lot of those type of fees. We never shut off any water bill, and for not paying your utilities. And so we said, they're suffering. We also help with those who were let out of work with rental assistance. We remember, a city like Clovis, does not get any CARES funding.
Right.
CARES funding came to cities that were 500 residents or more. So cities like us were like, well, you got nothing. And so we took monies that were sort of left over from certain projects that we were going to do. We held off and said, let's use these funds to help.
Oh, so you kind of re-strategized, redirected where the
Yes.
money was going to go.
Yes. And so that's what we did. And in the end, I always say in the end, if we're in the black, we did something right. We did something right. Not only that, but the way we governed it, our infection rate, Clovis's infection rate, is lower than any other city in the Fresno County, lower than the county's infection rate, and lower than the state's.
Wow.
So that means, okay, something must have went right, because you're criticizing. You're the ones, you're not enforcing. You're the ones causing the pandemic to keep going. Yet our infection rate is lower than everyone.
That's what I was told. I
Yeah.
thought that. So right now it's still at that point. I heard at one point there was a little bit of a spike, but for the most part we were always low.
But the overall, since the beginning to now, our infection rate is the lowest of any city within Fresno County.
Well, hopefully it stays that way.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I believe that's because businesses were very responsible. They were
Took the
proactive.
precautions.
Yep, they took the precautions, and they did what was right for the people and for themselves. Yeah.
So
We also did that for our employees, and so because we got employees too,
Right.
So we did not forget them. We gave extra leave because at that time employees were working, and then kids weren't working. Right, the kids went back to school.
Exactly.
So then we said, well, let's make flexible schedules, allow our employees to be home with the kids for those that can.
For the distance
Yeah,
learning.
distance learning, so that way we can be there, give extra leave because we were, some may be out, and if you're self-isolating for 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of potential no pay. And so let's be flexible. Let's work with our staff so that way they can feel like we are an employer who cares about our employees. I mean, we were up on PPE, so we never had a shortage of PPE because we had fire who foresaw things, and they purchased enough and ready. We were ready to give that to the businesses as well, and we did a lot of that. And so,
Well, kudos to you for what you've accomplished in the last. That was like really thrown at you because I know when you were elected, you probably never foresaw this
yeah,
happening.
yeah. And I think one thing that I'm very proud of that we did during the pandemic was we opened our meetings up. We closed it for April. So there was 3 meetings in which the public could not come.
Okay.
And at the end of April, we said, this is not how government should be. If we are essential for the people to access us, not for us to come to a meeting. So we voted and we opened the meetings back up. And when we opened the meetings back up, you heard your people. You heard the businesses come in and say, hey, work with us. You heard the churches come in and say, we can make a service that will still be safe, but allow, our members to worship. And so it was that. We needed to work as a community. But when we closed the meetings, you can still access them on web. It's like, who comes to the web? There's something about seeing a smile, like you and I seeing a smile, seeing someone's eye, hearing someone's words, even seeing their tears, And so I always say, look, if I have to choose, if I get the pandemic or if my kids starve and I get it, I'll go get it. I'll take that pandemic any day so my kids doesn't starve. Who wouldn't? If you're a parent, right?
Right.
You would. And so, back in Laos, that's how it was. My parents escaped governments that said, you're getting a fine for this, you gotta do that. And the day we rescinded our orders was that I felt we were being like that. We put an order out that said, we can come and fine you for no reason up to $1,000 if you disobey these state health orders. And that was the meeting in which I said, this is what my parents left.
Right. I heard a lot of those complaints from.
I cannot stand for this. We have to rescind those orders. And we did. It was a 4-1 vote. We rescinded all the orders and said, this is not a city issue. This is a state issue. They issue these orders. And this is a Fresno County Office of Health issue. Our officers already have enough work to do, right? They have enough to do. We're not adding any more. And our businesses, our people are intelligent enough, meaning treat them like grown-ups.
Right.
They're going to take care of themselves. Who doesn't value life?
They don't want to get it themselves.
And so they'll be mature enough to be able to handle it. So that's sort of the way I felt we all wanted to handle the pandemic, meaning acknowledge it, see that, it's something serious, but at the same time, take into account everything else. What are we doing wrong? What can we do better with our people?
Well, thank you for giving us a detailed account of all the things you've done. What do you plan to do going forward for the next 2 years after you're reelected?
We always say public safety, and someone says, people always say, well, why public safety? Why? And I always say, without public safety, I don't care how beautiful and how shiny your parks are. I'm not taking my kids there. Without public safety, the businessman or woman will not open their business in your town. Why? Because I got to deal with graffiti, with the people breaking in. Without public safety, you won't go to the store.
Right.
And so public safety is our job. We have to keep the people safe. And when you keep the people safe, businesses stay open. People come walk our parks and trails. People come play at the school. And there's peace of mind. And then when you have that, then there's community. Now I'll see you on the trail and we'll know each other. But if there's no public safety, I'm staying in my home. I won't see you. You won't see me.
Right.
I go straight to the store. I come back home. I lock my door. And that's not what we want. That's when you lose community. And so our job is to go, how do we keep you safe, whether it's fire or police, right? How do you keep every neighborhood in Clovis safe? Where when you call, you know that officer is showing up. And our officers will show up for everything. And you'll know the fireman with his fire truck will come to rescue you and to save you. And that's what we pride ourselves in. And that's pretty much our number one job. Just how do we maintain that? The second thing is planning well. But I always believe also that our job is to keep the streets clean, the lights on. Meaning, if we do that, Now there's pride in ownership. If I pave all the potholes, if I keep that sidewalk clean and the lights on, now the homeowner goes, that street is clean. I better mow my lawn. Meaning it's contagious. But if the street is
You don't want to be
dirty,
the bad one on the
yeah,
block.
but if the street is dirty, I can leave a bad front yard now and it kind of just blends in. So that's why I say it's our job to keep that street clean. And then it'll just trickle. It's kind of like osmosis. It trickles to the homeowners, and now there's pride in ownership because they know that the city will come and keep that. Will
Does
sweep
this
it.
mean we need a lot of road construction? Because I see a lot of that going on. And
We,
who
we,
says how long this can happen? How long can road construction really go on some of these main streets? Like right now in D. Wolf and Herndon, it's shut off by the hospital. How long is this going to happen? And who says that it's going to be
it
how
all
long?
depends on what is being developed. But with regards to existing streets, there is a certain formula in which length of years, sort of condition, and it's very scientific on which roads get moved up to the
Top of the ladder
top
of
of the
who
ladder,
it's
in
going to
which
be
they go,
fixed
okay,
first.
here's
Okay.
all our infrastructure dollars. These are the parts.
What is
we're
that
gonna-
based on? Is it how much traffic is on it?
It can be traffic, but it's also use, right? It's also wear and tear. It's also when's the last time? So there's quite a bit of things, and we can't do it where we just got to do it up there because it's the nicer part of town, or you can't do it here because they're complaining the most. No, it's got to be scientific, so that way the most needy streets get fixed. Yeah.
So Clovis is very safe. I love living in Clovis, but we did have that incident a few months ago where the African American woman was vandalized. Her store is vandalized. How do you think that happened? What steps were taken to assure that these type of things don't happen again?
I don't know if you can ever prevent it because how people are is not something the city controls. How we respond may deter it. So in other words, if you teach your child to be mean, they'll be mean. And I can't control that. But what we can control is if someone is mean to you and you call, we respond.
Okay.
And then if everyone responds, meaning like if a black person calls, we respond, a white person calls, we respond, an Asian person calls, that then assures the community they have our back, meaning police department. And that's how it was. Someone, meaning you hurt one of us, you evil person.
Exactly.
We're here, we're going to take a stand, and we're going to investigate, and we're going to be prompt, and we're going to try to find out, and we're going to give a message that we don't tolerate this. And I think that enough people, you saw how much love the community had, and how much hurt they also had.
I did see that.
Yeah, that why do this? And especially in Old Town.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I feel
And
safe.
some will say, well, Old Town is like that. But those of us who have been here said, no, Old Town takes care of each other.
Right.
We care less about the color. Yeah, we just care that you're here and you're part of us. And it's also a reflection of the community. If you look at Clovis and how it's built and how it is populated, it's always been about quality of life. And it's never been about, well, where are we going to put the Armenians? Where are we going to put the Hmong? Where are we going to put the blacks and the Latinos? No. It's a community. If you want this type of housing, this type of thing, with this type of park in this school, you go. And you look in Clovis, and you'll be hard pressed to find where the Hmong community is. I'll ask you, and you go, I don't know. They're everywhere, right?
Right,
They're at
that's
Buchanan,
true.
they're at Clovis High, they're at Clovis North, they're at Clovis East. They're everywhere. And so that's the beauty of what we did well, what we did right. And our part in it is just, how do you plan? How do you offer a variety of housing where we just don't stick all the apartments in one place, or stick all the large $2 million homes in one place? You mix it up so that way you can be together. We sometimes get those labels, and it makes us prejudge. So you hear apartments and you go, oh, gotta be this type of person.
Right.
And I always say, once that child gets out from that apartment and you from your single family home, and they meet at school and they become friends, I don't come to that kid and go, is your mom on Section 8? Is she in an apartment? No, you become humans. and you care less. And if they're good, wholesome people, you care less about, you know, like how they live or what car they drive. And I think that's something that Clovis citizens pride themselves in getting to know each other. That's why we're involved in our schools. We're involved with our kids. We're involved in the community in Old Town. And so we get to know each other and we get to value the richness of your culture, my culture, your differences, my differences.
What are some things we can look forward to coming up? Because, it's been such a rough year. What's some things that you guys are working on that you're like, let's celebrate this year coming 2021?
Yeah, I mean, we will keep celebrating, but the medical school is here. It opened up.
Yes.
75 students, 78, but 75. Next year it's going to 120 and then 150 after that and then 175. So it'll be about 500 students in the medical school right next to Clovis Community Hospital. We have a medical school here. And it's going to be a medical hub. We got the VA that's going to come right by Clovis Community as well. So it's going to be kind of like a medical hub right there, Temperance and 168 over there.
Okay.
That area is going to be, a nice area. The Northeast is slowly developing. Okay, in the Northeast, not Northeast, Northwest. Okay, Willow, south of Copper, north of Shepherd,
Okay.
sort of that area. That is Heritage Grove, and that's going to start to come about. You already see some building there. And, the plans are we're going to get our fig garden, okay, the fig garden higher end because it can support it because of the homes from Fresno and Clovis. Fig garden type commercial center. North of that, across from Clovis Community College, is going to be sort of our Santana Row. If you ever gone to San Jose.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the master plan is going to be a Santana Row type.
So what's the area exactly for
right
that?
Right across from Clovis Community College.
Okay.
And so potentially there'll be an underground pathway, so it's the college.
And that's coming up soon?
We hope within 5 years.
Okay,
yeah,
that's not bad.
The plans are there.
Okay.
You see, so it's all, markets, right? It's got to be the right time for someone to invest, but the plans are there. We also, our parks and our trails have been developed so well that it's all getting interconnected. We have counters, and soon we're going to start to really improve it with signage, so that way oh, this trail leads to there, which can go to here, which will go to Woodward Park, or it'll go here, or it'll go to Loma Vista, and the different commercial centers, and this is how the trail will come through Old Town, and make it where if you are, the biking, walking, running types, you can kind of just go, oh, okay, I can do that. The transit center is coming right next to we broke ground on the transit center and the senior center. And so we have one of the best senior centers in the valley. And now they're going to get their own. And I've always said a town that honors the heritage of those who came before us and takes care of those who took care of us when we were young, that town's going to be blessed. And I believe that there is a higher being who sees that and says, we're going to honor our seniors. We're going to take care of them. We're going to give them the best, and we're going to give them the best building, so they can just enjoy the golden years, as a community. We're doing that as well. I mean, we will continue to expand like Shaw all the way out to McCall, make it 3 lanes, and we have the new fire station we just broke ground on, which will be coming out. Serve the southeast or the Clovis East area. And so our goal is always respond within 5 minutes. And so it's been about 6 minutes or so in certain areas, 7. So our goal is, if someone gets to you in 5 minutes, it can potentially save a life, save a structure, right? Save an animal, okay? But life is precious, and we need to be able to respond in time. So we're doing that. The commercial center is coming. The civic center and the public square just north of Clovis East is coming. So it'll be a great outdoor park where that community is going to have a place where they can celebrate festivals and events as well. And so we're doing all that, and it's exciting. It is very exciting. And I think you need good, solid leadership in order to maintain the course and to be able to hold each other accountable to get there. Yeah, and it's been an honor to serve the people of Clovis.
So tell our viewers how important it is to go out and vote, especially during these elections, because like you said, during when people are voting in September, November, that's like the big time in November.
Yeah.
They're always like running. They already know, they think bigger government's more important than smaller government, which I think we both know smaller government's more important. You did a great job of explaining why. Explain why it's important to go to these, to vote on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
You know, when you come from a country that doesn't give you a right to vote, you value it a lot when you get it, when you earn it, when you get that citizenship. And I always tell the young kids who have been born here, that you have a right. It's almost like you forget that the water runs when you open it. Until you open it and no water runs. And you have to go, this is such a privilege that you get to choose the people who will serve you. And you have to practice it and honor it. I always say, like in my community, those guys and women who go fishing or who hunt, they know exactly when hunting season opens. They prep for it and they get ready and they go. And I go,
Right.
well, how come you don't do that for voting? It's one day. You just prep for it. You do your research. You go vote. It needs to be second nature to you like that. Where it's so important because we make decisions that affect your life every day.
Daily, our
Yes.
daily life.
And so it has to be one in which you care for it. And so I think that this is such a great nation that people coming from all over the world can earn and become a citizen and then can check a box and go, I'm in the process now. And forever, my history is a story of the American history. And you will never find that anywhere else. You only find that in America. That this Hmong boy coming from Laos is forever written into the history books of the city of Clovis in one generation. You can't find that, right? Nowhere else. But it's here. It's so beautiful. It's here. And you know, we come from afar and we fall in love with this nation. And you just go, how precious it is. It's worth fighting for, and it's definitely worth dying for. Now, I feel that way. And Clovis is special because it still values that. And we need to keep it.
I think it's important. This past Thursday, I am on my show. I interviewed a family whose brother was murdered in Anguilla. Him and his friend they were both murdered in Anguilla, and they were talking about the lack of response that they've gotten from the end of America to go and push this investigation in Anguilla. They were talking about that. Is that something? And they were saying you have to write to your, local councilman, local city, everybody to like push to this investigation. Would you answer a letter like that if you were given that? Or a lot of letters, they said the more of a push, the more that can make a difference and an impact to get this investigation going. It's two American citizens went to Anguilla, were murdered, and it's just an open investigation for the past 2 years. How do you suggest we go about that? Should we blow up with a bunch of emails to our city councilman? Is that bothering you guys? Like, what should we do?
God puts you in positions for a reason. And many times you are there because now you can reach a door that the regular citizen can't reach. And if you can reach it, you have the obligation to open that door. God allows you to knock on doors that the other person cannot knock on. And if the calling comes and they say, please knock for me, my job is to go knock. You don't force the other person what to do, but you knock so that way you can connect the people. And I feel that's the privilege of being in a certain position. You know, I always say that, they always say, what's the best thing about being a city councilman, right? I said, I see things I never saw as a regular citizen. I hear things I never heard. You see, I'm invited to things I never would have gotten an invitation to. So it's always a privilege to be able to do that. But because I see more, I must be willing to be able to bring people to see what I see. I hear more, I have to be able to be wiser in how I decide. You know, when we sit on the dais and people come and they speak to us, I have to remind myself every night that for that citizen to leave their family, to leave dinner, and to come and to speak to me or to us, they're at the end, right? Who would come until they felt like, oh no, my life is changing. I have no place else to go. So when they do that, we have to listen. We have to go, why are they so concerned that they would come? And so with your situation, why would they call me? Because they think I can open the door. So I have to try. I have to do it. You see? And so that's our job. Our job is to serve. And I always tell my wife this. I said, honey, the day I become a politician, pull me by the ear, and it's time to go. We are servants. Always servants. And you have to serve.
That's a lot of work and a lot of pressure, Vong.
Yeah. But it's an honor. And you have to do that. Because if you don't, and if it's just about you, then if you lose, it hurts too much. And if you don't win, you'll be willing to cheat. Because, but if it's service, then you lose, then you go, God has someplace else for me to serve. God has another work for me to do. But if it's not, then I sorry about that. But I don't mean to get emotional, but I just feel very humbled that I have the opportunity to serve our people like this.
I wish everybody had this passion. I don't know how anyone can't vote for you, Vong.
Well, you always have enemies, so.
Well, I mean, just the passion, just how much you do for everybody. I mean, that's incredible, and to go above and beyond for everybody. That's amazing. So thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm very humbled to have you on here because I know you're so busy this election season, and you made it here to talk to my audience. So thank you so much, Vong.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's just been a pleasure, and I'm glad that they get a chance to know you or to know me. Yeah, because I think it's important to know who you vote for. Because in the end, you can't hide who you are. I think people are smart. You can fool them because politicians are good at that. But I think after 4 years, you kind of know who they are. And so I hope that my service 4 years will allow the people to see that we want someone like that, or if it's the time for them to find someone else, then it's also their right.
Are you social media heavy? Can we follow you and you kind of give a little bit of a progress of things that are happening and going on? Where's the best place to get that information for you specifically? Like, I know each person has a different platform.
I mean, prior to the election, I always do city stuff only, right? Here's the events that are going on, what's going on, and you can contact me. But it's only during the election when I'm doing a lot of personal, here's my events, here's these things.
Right.
But I will always push city stuff only on my social media.
Okay, so that's what we wanted. We want to know what's happening with that and where we should follow. So is it Facebook? Yeah. Is that the best
Facebook, I'm on there. And
okay.
So my platform on there, on my Vong Mouanoutoua and Clovis City Counselman Vong Mouanoutoua. I will always have updated city stuff.
Great.
Agendas for the meetings. I put all that out.
And then sometimes you guys live stream your meetings when you guys make announcements, right? Some of them do that.
The meetings are live streamed all the time now. So
great. Okay.
You can come see the meetings all the time.
Well, that gets us very involved. So go out on Tuesday and vote. Yes. Thank you so much, Vong.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, appreciate your vote. And so please come out and vote.
Felt right in the moment. Felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it. Just wanted to take the time. Learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do. And there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends. Knowing all this this time we were playing pretend. Playing pretend. Playing pretend.
It's a